Hello, beautiful you. Nice to have you here. So, how are you doing? And I'm certain, or I am hoping that you're doing really well. And if so, we thank the Lord. Well, it's time for us to talk about my favorite person in the world. Guess who? In case you haven't realized that, Pope Leo the 14th. It's time for us to talk about the Holy Father. And my first story begins on this note. Felicitación! Felicidades or congratulations to the Holy Father. Congratulations are in order because Pope Leo the 14th has released his first book. Yeah. Yes, the Vatican has released the Holy Father's first book, and it's titled Disarmed and Disarming. Powerful, powerful. Well, this book it highlights peace as the defining mission of Pope Leo XIV's pontificate. The publication brings together his reflections on peace, artificial intelligence, and also global responsibility. The book is urging both individuals and nations to reject violence and embrace dialogue as the path to lasting peace. Well, it's not as if he actually sat down to start, writing the book. It's more like they brought together all of his reflections, his teachings, from the very first day, he was elected Pope. It's been all about peace. And I think it was from him that we got this phrase, disarmed and disarming. He used it quite often and he uses it still quite often, to talk about and propagate his message of peace. So now this book highlights peace as the defining mission of his pontificate. Embrace dialogue as the path to lasting peace. Don't you agree? Reject violence. Violence, what exactly do we get from being violent? You know? So let's completely reject violence. We must not handle conflict violently, So that's what he's urging us to do. Reject violence, embrace dialogue as the path to the world finding this lasting peace that we so yearn for. All right, this man right here on the screen, Alessandro Banfi, he is an Italian journalist and a television writer, and he's responsible for the curation of the book. Remember again, the book is called or titled Disarmed and Disarming. Yeah, I'll let you know where you can grab a copy, yeah, or if it's just an ebook as well. Yeah. Anyways, congratulations once again to the Holy Father. Now let's move on to my next story. This next story is about the Holy Father and music. He's at a number of persons, groups, etc., performing before him. So what are his thoughts about music? Here's what he thinks about music. The Holy Father believes that music and beauty can lift the human heart toward God. Speaking after a classical concert held in his honor at Castel Gandolfo, the Pope thanked the performers and organizers, describing art as a reflection of God's creation and a source of hope in a world that is marked by conflict. Another very exciting news is that Villanova has launched Pope Leo Sustainability Medal. Yeah. Villanova is a university and it has established the Pope Leo Sustainable Medal to honor global leaders advancing environmental stewardship and human dignity. So the inaugural award will be presented by the Holy Father during the 2026 International Sustainability Conference in Castel Gandolfo this September. So that's where we will know who will be the first winner, who will get this honor. Another thing that happened was that Pope Leo paid a private visit to Montel Casino Abbey. Yeah. And why did he go there? Well, we learned that He prayed at the tomb of Saint Benedict for peace in regions torn apart by war. And this abbey was rebuilt after World War II, and it remains a powerful symbol of reconciliation and hope. Have you ever heard about the Montel Casino Abbey? Yeah, I think this is actually the first time I'm also hearing about it, thanks to Pope Leo XIV. Yeah, so he paid a visit and he went there to pray for peace. Pope Leo also visited the historic Benedictine shrines. He visited the shrine of the Holy Trinity in Valle Pietra and the monasteries of Saint Benedict and Saint Scholastica in Sambiaco. And during the pilgrimage, he spent time in silent prayer. He reflected on the rich Benedictine spiritual heritage while continuing his summer retreat. Meanwhile, on a very thoughtful note, the Holy Father sent birthday prayers and wishes to the Italian president. That's sweet. What will it feel like for me to receive a birthday prayer? Blessings. Yeah, it must feel really special. So the Pope has sent birthday greetings to Italian President Sergio Mattarella on his 85th birthday. In his message, the Pope thanked the President for his service to Italy and he assured him of his prayers and protection of Saints Francis of Assisi and Catherine of Siena. I'm just imagining getting these birthday blessings, prayers, wishes from the Holy Father. That must feel really special, really heartfelt. Oh, let's also send our belated birthday wishes to Italian president and we wish him many more happy years in service to his nation and to the world at large. That was a thoughtful one from the Holy Father. Let's remember the Pope's call, you know. The Pope, the Holy Father continually appeals for prayers for victims of war and also he's calling for renewed efforts toward global peace. And throughout the summer, he's advising that we should not forget the less fortunate, including the poor and the elderly. Do not forget them. Support, reach out to the poor, the elderly, the less fortunate. Always try to reach out to them. That's the advice from the Holy Father for the summer. That should be, you know, part of your activities. You should include it, incorporate it into your activities during the summer. Okay, reach out to the elders, reach out to the less fortunate, and also pray for global peace and pray for victims of war, etc. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll keep bringing you some wonderful and amazing updates about the Holy Father and the Universal Church.